Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is Monday. Welcome to a new week. Technically the first full week of April here, as the flowers are blooming, the spring is in the air, and we have a lot of stories here from over the weekend to tell you.
The pollen's in the air, your eyes are
the
puffing
pollen.
up, your throat's dry.
Keep those windows closed. We've got a lot of news here from today and the weekend that you might have missed. This is first and only international game show Before Coffee, a father and daughter news podcast where we look for our stories right before the show starts. We just got coffee in our bodies and we learn to read and speak live on stream. Let's get into those mucking headlines and spin that segue wheel. Today on Mucking Fonday. 10 years later, the launch of N Marsh has things to teach us for 2027 from France. And Hadburg update on the wolf. It's free again and it has little GPS on it.
Happy Mucking Fonday from the U.S., where Secretary of War Crimes Whiskey Pete Kegs Breath has fired a bunch of generals, including the Secretary of the Army, or the head of the Army generals anyway, and we're going to have a moon update.
The moon they're flying towards the moon. Coming out of Spain, my article is in Spanish all of a sudden, so I can't read it. Operation Kitchen goes to trial. That's right, there were spies in the Spanish government and now they're going to trial. Plus, France condemns execution of a French citizen in China.
And it's time for the Monday Epstein Files update. Why have there been so few arrests for all these crimes? Plus, a gray whale has died in Oregon.
In my culture news, Keir Starmer's deeply concerned by upcoming Kanye Ye West UK gigs as sponsors pull out of the festival.
And it's New Beer's Eve. That's right. There's something called New Beer's Eve. It's April 6, 2026. On Before Coffee. For you. We gave you a pizza party last year.
Oh, what did you say? It's something day?
National Employee Benefits Day.
Oh, right. Yeah, we gave you a pizza party. Yeah, the classic.
Yeah, they give you
Where's my bonus? What do you mean? We gave you a pizza party. Remember, that was your bonus. We gave you one free therapy session every year. That's your bonus.
Every year when I worked at this company, which shall remain nameless, a huge defense contractor. One of these people has said, we got cost overruns, let's get more cost overruns. That's that kind of defense contractor, right? Nod, wink, wink, congressman. That guy, right? They could basically print money. Anyway, they would send me a statement every year telling me, your benefit statement. It wasn't just my salary, my wages. It was, we paid for this insurance. We paid risk for that. We paid that. We paid
so
that.
So you can't claim we didn't give you benefits. Yeah.
Yeah,
pizza party, $10.
Benefits that we paid. Yeah, you paid an insurance premium. We also paid an insurance premium. There's even one in there for life insurance. You guys took a life insurance policy out on me, and you're calling that one of my benefits? How do I benefit from that? I have to die. That's
I don't get paid out.
and you get paid. And my family gets paid. I don't get anything from that. How's it a benefit? Anyway, then what I do is I calculate the hourly wage they say they paid me, and then I go look up the contract, and it comes out to the contract is twice. They get twice. Every hour I work, they get twice what they're paying me, even with all the benefits. They're still making 100% profit on my hours, and they call it benefits. So my point being that this is a government contract, and the United States taxpayers are subsidizing my insurance without knowing about it. That's my point.
Yeah, so, but God forbid you do it for some poor people with, like single mother with 3 kids, you know. Oh God, no! She can afford to go to a doctor's appointment.
These contractors, they write the cost of the insurance into the contract, right?
Yep.
That's why they're making $300, $400 an hour, and I'm only making 30, right? Oh, hey, it's all built into the contract. They're stealing money from you, taxpayers, and you think you. Oh my! Anyway, I got to get off this tangent because it's just one of these realizations that people got to know. Contractors are stealing money from you. They are just stealing it.
Okay, our first segue is going to be hypothetical about my first 2 stories. This first one's long, second one's a little shorter. So this first one is coming off of the Huffington Post France by Anthony Berthelier. 10 years later, the launch of N Marsh has things to teach us for 2027. From the launch of N Marsh, shunned by the political class, to its meteoric rise, the memory of Emmanuel Macron's first campaign should encourage caution this spring. Reminder that Emmanuel Macron's on his last last time he can be elected. He's on his currently last, I can't think of the word right now, but he'll never be able to be elected ever again. So, and he started on this platform back in 2017, the En Marche.
He can be prime minister though, right?
Yeah.
Isn't there a loophole? He can hold another job, like a.
They probably have no idea.
What's the other job?
President,
yeah.
President, Prime Minister. So, lessons from the past. 10 years ago to the day, on April 6th, 2016, Emmanuel Macron launched from Amiens, his hometown, a new political movement that will be neither right nor left, and I name it En Marche. A decade later, the movement, now called the Renaissance, alone symbolizes the successes and setbacks of the head of state. Beyond that, the memory of the pivotal evening offers another crucial lesson on the context of a presidential pre-campaign. The balance of power measured a year before the election has no predictive value. It is, by the very nature, fluid, with early favorites rarely victorious at the polls. So let's go back in time. When Macron launched his movement that April evening, with no press present and no clarity on his presidential ambitions, Emmanuel Macron was undoubtedly one of the few to entertain the hope of victory 12 months later. And even then, I don't know if I will succeed, he explained to his first 350 supporters, including Socialist Senator Francois Patriat, one of the few elected officials in attendance. It must be said that at the time, the man who had been Francois Hollande's Minister of Economy since 2014 certainly enjoyed considerable media coverage and an almost audacious surge in popularity. But in the political sphere, the situation was quite different. Few took seriously the ambition and strengths of this man, barely 40 years old, never elected, and already a source of irritation. In the wake of his launch, a close association of Francois Hollande even praised the initiative in the press, saying it contributes to the success of the executive branch and the collective, while already envisioning the fledgling movement as a future offshoot of the Socialist Party in preparation for the 2017 presidential election. Moreover, the initial opinion polls that considered his potential candidacy, Emmanuel Macron was presented as the Socialist Party candidate. He was on par with the incumbent president. In reality, though, he ended up being center-right, but you know, things change when you actually become president. In the polls, the favorite is Alain Juppé, a declared candidate since 2014. The former prime minister under Jacques Chirac, who's very famous, of course, Chirac, is consistently or almost consistently polling above 30% in the first round. He even comes close to 40% in an Ilabe survey conducted at the end of April 2016. At that point, a runoff with Marine Le Pen, polled just below, seemed almost inevitable. Far behind, the future president is credited with only 15% of the voting intentions in the few polls that mention him. This level will remain unchanged until November, despite his departure from the government at the end of August and his official declaration of candidacy in October. The rest is history. While Francois Hollande's record unpopularity prevented him from running for re-election, Emmanuel Macron benefited from a spectacular alignment of circumstances and dramatic campaign twists. The primaries on both the left and the right resulted in victories for radical factions, freeing up space for him in the center and eliminating Alain Juppé, the previous frontrunner. Then came Francois Fillon's legal troubles, Francois Bayrou's endorsement, and a converging of polls leading to his eventual victory. Who could have predicted it? In fact, hardly anyone. Unprecedented and made possible by months of behind-the-scenes preparation, the meteoric rise of the current occupant of the Elysee Palace should encourage caution in spring. Despite easy studies or analyses, situations are never set in stone a year before the deadline. That is the Macronist lesson. So, too long didn't read. Now that Macron's presidency is coming up, right? He's no longer going to be allowed to be elected as a president anyways.
Yep.
It's going to be the turn of a new chapter, right? There's going to be new people, old people, people we've seen before, available for election next year in 2027. And I guess what Anthony is warning everyone is that to not put your hopes in the polls, right? Because Macron only had 15% on this day 10 years ago, and now he's held the presidency for his whole term, like the max amount of terms, right? And I don't think anybody back in 2016 could have predicted that. So keep your eyes on the prize. Pay attention to who's available for election coming up this France election. If you're French, you're probably not even listening to this because I'm speaking English, but it's important to pay attention to these things. And I'm sure other countries can learn that lesson too.
Right.
Polls don't mean anything.
Hypothetical. Right. Hypothetical. Let's do a hypothetical. I think I think the ex-French president very next job should be tour guide at Eiffel Tower. or St. Helena or Elba or something, you know. St. Helena, yeah, that's for Napoleon's men is declining here. And there's also, you can also start dating Katy Perry. I hear ex-presidents like to do that.
Yeah, she is single now.
I'm out of. Yeah, she's single. I don't know. The French don't care about being married. They're married. Well, we know was it Mitterrand? His mistress was at his funeral with his children. His mistress. It's still a normal. Open marriages are still kind of a normal thing in a lot of European countries, for sure. Hey, man, you got to keep track of where your kids are.
All right, let's go to my shorter story here, which is just about the update on the wolf. On Wednesday, I believe, we talked about a wolf who bit somebody in Hamburg. They were able to capture it, and now it's free again in the wilderness. And they put a collar on it, so they know where it's going, so it doesn't end up somewhere where people can get bitten by it. I think this is on Der Spiegel out of Germany. The wolf captured in Hamburg has been released a week after attacking a woman. The young male was fitted with a transmitter and released back into the wild on Easter Sunday, which was the 5th of April. The Environmental Authority announced. They did not disclose the exact location of the release. The animal had been at a wildlife rescue center near Sachsenhagen in Schaumburg district of Lower Saxony since Tuesday. What was Tuesday? Wasn't that March 30th, 31st? Yes, March 31st. They're probably not telling anybody where the wolf is, just in case somebody wants to go shoot it. Because sadly, people like to do that. Just to be cruel. Hello, good morning, Tommy. Thank you for stopping in. Within this release, we have found a legally sound solution for this wolf that takes into account the safety of citizens and the animal's welfare, said Senator for the Environment Katharina Fegebank from the Green Party. Thanks to the transmitter, the animal's location is known at all times, and hunters can intervene immediately if necessary. For example, if the wolf approaches a settlement again. It's released on probation, the senator said. The decision was not made lightly and experts were consulted. The wolf was first sighted in western Hamburg on the last weekend of March. On Monday of last week, the 30th of March, it ran into a small shopping arcade on Grobste and Bergstrasse in the Altona district.
The food court. Sorry.
In the Altona district, and injured a woman of about 60 years old. She probably just thought it was a nice puppy. Come here, nice puppy. chomp. You're scaring me! The wolf then ran several kilometers through the city center and finally jumped into the inner Ulster Lake, where the police were able to capture it. It did not seem like it was aggressive. The fact that it ran away after the crime, right? It's like, oh shit, I'm out of here. The environmental authority assumes that the wolf bit the woman as she presumably approached the panicked animal to let it out through the automatic glass doors of the shopping arcade. Senator for the Environment, Fezji Bank, referred to the police report. Yeah, it's like, what the fuck's going on? I'm stuck. Here, let me open the door. What are you doing? Get away from me. It doesn't know how glass doors work. It's just a wolf. Poor thing. The environmental authority assumes that the wolf bit... Oh, we already talked about that. However, the exact contents of the report are unknown, as the police have not released the report on the wolf bite. Conservationists doubted the wolf attack and bit the woman. They point, for example, to a witness who claims to have seen the wolf jump at the woman but not bite her. The textile merchant who owns a shop in their crate told the Hamburger Abendblatt, "It looked more like the wolf had hit her in the face with its paw than jumped at her." On Easter Sunday, the 5th of April, according to organizers, around 150 animal lovers held a vigil at Hamburg's Jungfernstieg, advocating for the wolf's release. Free the wolf! He's just an animal. He didn't know any better. Observers estimate the number to be close to 100. Some brought their dogs, while others carried signs reading, "Let him go back to his freedom. I am not a trophy, and the wolf should stay." The wolf had been fished out of the inner Ulster Lake by police at that very spot. Good for the animal rights activists. I agree with them, honestly. Obviously, the wolf got lost in the city and didn't know how to get back out to the wild, and it panicked. That's pretty obvious to me. I don't think you need a animal behavior degree to figure that one out. You like my new garden? Thank you, Tommy. I hope you enjoy. I kind of had to lower the colors on it a bit because it was a bit too colorful, but yes, I'm growing these lovely tulips.
So it was near the food court, right, at the shopping center.
Yeah, I was probably just hungry. Smelled some burgers, you know? Yeah.
Theoretically, it has been suggested he had a Chinese menu in his hand. But I don't think Hamburg has a Soho district, so he's.
I would like the orange chicken with the Peking duck.
No, I think
that's a lot of meat.
I think werewolves prefer to beef chow mein, according to legend. Anyway, I don't know if this is a related story, but there's a rec league basketball. There's a basketball rec league in Hamburg, and a recent score, the Hamburg Food Court team 352 and Hamburg Burger King 7. So that was
oh darn!
I don't know if it's werewolf related. I just have a feeling that this lady just joined the rec league, and anyway, so it's. If you saw Teen Wolf, you get that joke. If you don't, it just flew right by you.
Let's roll our next segue.
Full moon. They should never schedule your games during a full moon against Hamburg.
Werewolves of Hamburg.
Hamburg Food Court as a ringer on that night. So yeah.
Our next segue is Limerick. For your story.
You're gonna have to write a limerick about Pete Kegs' breath, unfortunately for you.
Oh no. How will I survive?
Nominally, his name is Hegseth, but I'll never use it again. I have zero respect for this war criminal. This is from Axio.com. Whiskey Pete Kegs' breath is firing top generals, and it stuns officials. It's insane. The ouster of Army Chief of Staff Randy George and Army General David Hodney blindsided military leaders and have generated concern among defense officials about the implications of the war in Iran and the long-term adoption of the new tech and tactics. Why it matters, George and Hodney joined a growing list of generals and flag officers booted by Secretary of War Crimes Whiskey Pig Heads Kegs' breath. These abrupt exits have reshaped the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Intel collecting agencies, and combat commands. Okay, I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's asking them to do things that are illegal, and that's what they're doing. And they're saying, you know what, Pete? I ain't doing that. And he's like, well, you're fired then. And they're like, bam, bam. Nope, they said all due respect.
Something you will do the dog.
Don't worry, they're going to get their retirements. You can't do anything about them not getting their retirements or punish them beyond just firing them. You can't do that. He's tried to do it before. It's complete horseshit. He tried to do it with, I don't know, astronaut Mark Kelly,
Really?
Pilot Mark Kelly, right? Guy who's been to the space station so many times it changes DNA. That guy, he decided, I'm going to go after him. Why? So he can be wrong. Anyway, he's an idiot. One of these officials described firing generals during war as insane, which it is, of course, which tells you that they're not going to follow his orders. They don't like this piece of, Hodney was late last year put in charge of Transformation and Training Command, or T2COM, meant to accelerate the service's tech development and deployment. The organization was birthed from the Army Transformation Initiative, which George helped lead. This doesn't feel like a very strong self-deserted decision, one of the officials said of Kegs' breath's move. The firings come while elements of the Army's 82nd Airborne are bombed from the Middle East. The service is also responsible for integrated air and missile defense. Here's a 4-star general is actively working to get equipment and people into the theater, protect U.S. forces, and you fire him in the middle of a war? A third U.S. official told Axios. And again, by the way, this administration is leaking and leaking and leaking and leaking and leaking. I just can't get over the fact that people think they're secure somehow. They're just leaking stuff all over the place. It's really hard to keep up with all the leaks. George, on March 20th, this general told Axios the Iron War underscores the need for greater weapons production and stateside capacity. So he's no war hawk, that's for damn sure. I mean, he's no war dove, that's for sure. We need to make our corporate masters richer. Yeah, so we don't really necessarily care about his opinions on building more war weapons. General Christopher Leneve is taking over for George in acting capacity. Leneve was previously an aide to Kegs' breath, and more recently, the Army's chief of staff, a post that opened after sudden retirement of James Mingus, who probably didn't want to work for this clown either. The plan for T2COM, just months old, was less clear. Its website still displayed Hodney's leader's headshot as Friday morning. Leneve was questioned on whether the Army is moving too fast, too far, according to one of the U.S. officials. Anyway, there's a quick story on nobody wanting to do what they want to do. Nobody wanting to dance. I think he just wants the generals that are all into this. The Crusades! This is a crusade! We're going to defeat that religion. It's the wrong one somehow. And therefore, we're going to prove it wrong by killing people. Blah, 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 blah. Whatever. Yeah, those nut jobs are getting in charge. So that's really comforting.
Those nut jobs. Okay. I have a limerick for you.
All right, limerick.
In a land where the leaders all fret, Kegs' breath made quite the bold bet. With a flick of his hand, he'd replace with a band of Trump puppets, all with no threat. That's what I see this as. Oh, you don't want to do what Trump wants you to do, huh? Well, we'll replace you with somebody who has no backbone. We don't need military leaders, we need military followers. Something like that. Probably, that's what he said.
Yeah.
And I'm not telling anybody to panic, but this is not a good thing, right? It's never a good thing when your entire government starts firing long-standing admirals and generals and military leaders and during a war. That's bad. Because that means they're disagreeing with the military part.
And the lesson they seem to not have learned is, shouldn't Russia have totally destroyed Kuwait by now? It's been like, what, 4, 8, right? Like,
yeah.
Shouldn't that happen? It's like 4 years now, and they can't do it. Why? They're superior numbers, war machine, can't do it. United States can't learn from that. I don't have any idea why, because drones defeat missiles just by existing. You took out a drone.
Intercept them.
Oh, you took out a $20,000 drone with a $3 million missile. Keep doing that, United States. You're just going to run out of weapons.
Yeah, at one point it's just the money war.
They have no strategy.
Yeah.
They have no plan, and they're going to run out of weapons. So that's why they had to stop a lot of the high-intensity bombing. That's why they just want to do a lot of big bombs now. Because, hey,
and kill civilians.
Yeah. And those are, by the way, and these threatening war crimes, destroying infrastructure, when it actually there's the undeclared war, by the way. It's completely
bombing schools.
There's no, right? When do we get to indiscriminately bomb countries? That's just complete horseshit. Anyway, the Congress doesn't do their job. Let's do another story. Let's update the moon. The moon's still there.
New moon update. We're on 2.0 moon.
Yeah, we got a moon. Okay, right. Artemis, we're going to Artemis. Artemis astronauts to make historic moon flyby today. Here's what to expect. Our biologist from Tariq Malik from space.com. NASA's first astronaut close encounter with the moon over 50 years will become a reality today on April 6th, and you'll be able to follow it live online. Just go to Artemis, blah, 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 Commander, well, we'll give it out in a minute. You'll be able to follow it online. And most people know how to use the internet. They can find what they want. But you will need to know when to tune in and for how long, and for that we've got you covered. Okay, thank you. The four of us have looked at the moon our entire life. It's the way we're responding. What we've been seeing out the window is just like a bunch of kids up there. Artemis 2 Commander Reed Wiseman. Radio to Mission Control late Saturday. We cannot get enough of this. It's amazing. He radioed to them. Like, yeah, that's the only way to talk to people on the ground. Is I
don't. Small little tangent here, right? But this is the only time we've ever been able to live stream going to the moon. Right before, when we did it, we didn't have the capabilities to do it. Yeah. Right. And I don't think enough people talking about how it's amazing that we can live stream this.
Yeah, Neil Armstrong. There was a camera on the outside of Apollo 11, and Neil Armstrong did have set up a camera for himself, and Buzz Aldrin to take off. But those were grainy, right? Grainy.
Also, probably not as quick, right? We have way better radio signal now.
Yeah, we only had analog. You couldn't send it as a digital package all at once in gigaseconds. I'm sorry, nanoseconds. Sorry. The opposite, gigaseconds. That's like 3 lifetimes. Anyway, Weissman's and his Artemis 2 crewmates, pilot Victor Glover and mission specialist Christina Koch and Jeremy Hansen, will be the first humans to see the moon up close since NASA's Apollo 17 mission in 1972. They are the first astronauts to visit the moon in the 21st century, and will see parts of the moon that NASA's Apollo astronauts were never able to, like the poles on the far side. They will also see a rare solar eclipse from beyond the moon. Cool as shit, man. I want to go. Let's do this. The 9:50 p.m. window is already closed. Artemis 2 wakes up. The 1 p.m. Eastern time is coming up. Main live stream begins. That's at 5 Greenwich time. At 17:56 Greenwich time, Artemis 2 surpasses Apollo 13's distance record. That means they're going beyond where Apollo 13 went on the other side of the moon.
That's pretty cool.
Artemis crew comments, beating the record. Orion cabin configured for flyby. 7-hour moon flyby observation begins about 6:45, and you can watch it all on the internet. Holy shit! You're gonna see the moon, everybody,
for free. They're not making you pay extra, super duper awesome or something.
And for the people that just think the Earth is flat and that we never went to the moon, you know what you can do? You can look at your Easter eggs today. That's right. You can look at your Easter eggs and pretend there's an Easter bunny. So anyway, there's your little update on Artemis thing. It's got a great schedule here. If you go to space.com, you will find a full schedule of when you can, check it in live. And just enter Google. Google will hook you up with a live stream or whatever search engine you use in whatever country you're in. Because Google, I got a feeling, is going to be paying some fines and maybe shut out a few countries for showing like naked images and shit. I don't know. Anyway, let's do a thingamabob, a
limerick.
Or even a thingamabob.
With rockets ablaze in the night, astronauts soar to new heights of flight. To the moon they will zoom from your living room. Watch history unfold in delight.
Woohoo! Yes.
It would be nice to watch this on a big TV,
Welcome
wouldn't it?
to my childhood of wonder. Back when wonder existed in my life, I used to look at the TV and go, wow, he's walking on the moon. And I go outside and look at the moon and go, there's a guy walking on that big rock up there that I look at all the time. And, even as a child, you're like, whoa, I'm so lucky. But I just turned to Jerry Seinfeld. Anyway, let's...
roll the next segue. Give me some sounds
next
here,
segue.
man. You haven't sounded me all these limericks.
Didn't I? I gave you some sound. You didn't hear it?
Oh, I didn't hear it, I guess.
Yeah, you were... Well, I'll give you some more songs.
There we go.
It went away too easy.
Our next segue is sarcasm.
Sarcasm. Can do that.
Okay, my stories. Some more news out of, honestly, just in general European news. We've got a spy in Spain. That's right. Somebody's been arrested for being a spy, also known as Operation Kitchen, and is going to trial. This is on La Vanguardia out of Spain. Today, after 8 years of legal proceedings, the trial begins in Operation Kitchen concerning the theft of Luis Barcina's documents, an operation controlled by the Ministry of the Interior, then headed by Jorge Fernandez Diaz. The aim was to prevent the documents accumulated by the former treasurer of the People's Party, PP, from reaching Judge Ruz, who was investigating the Gürtel corruption case and potentially implicating the PP and its leaders, some of who held high-ranking positions in the government led by Mariano Rajoy. The purpose of the trial that begins today is to determine who the main instigators and perpetrators of the scheme were. The National Court will dedicate 2 months to this task. Among those in the dock will be former Minister Fernandez Diaz, who faces a 15-year prison sentence requested by prosecution, his deputy Francisco Martinez, and a significant portion of the police leadership at the time, many of whom helped orchestrate the machinations of the so-called patriotic police. Mariano Rajoy and Soyara Sáenz de Santa Maria, among others, will be questioned as witnesses. This is basically like Spanish Watergate. This is basically Spanish Watergate. The gravity of the case is clear.
Forced jump there.
And not only because it involved the dedication of up to 70 police officers and the use of classified funds to carry out a government operation intended to protect the leadership of the political party, right? So it wasn't for the country. It was, hey, make sure we're still in power because we might have done corruption. Can you burn these documents, please? Also, and perhaps more importantly, because it reveals, in addition to economic corruption, the ethical corruption inherent in using public institutions for nefarious purposes and with criminal methods. Justice is slow, but they want to believe that it leaves no stone unturned and that the meticulousness of its work can lead to the full clarification of the facts. In this case, an essential object of the trial is to determine the identity of the political official who endorsed the illegal procedures and all of those who decisively assisted him in the nefarious task. Who was the mastermind? Who was the person who said, we should get 70 police officers and find those documents and hide them or send them to a judge or something? The events now being examined by the courts take us back to a period between 2013 and 2015, marked by several striking events. These began with the discovery of 22 million euros in Barcina's Swiss bank accounts, followed by his arrest and the People's Party attempts to prevent the papers of their former treasurer from eroding the party's standing. So they had documents from the treasurer and they said, let's get rid of these documents so nobody can ever read them and nobody will ever know the truth. Strike one. This had been brewing since 2007. When the Anti-Corruption Prosecutor's Office began investigating the Gürtel corruption network, and particularly since 2009, when it was denounced before the National Court as a political corruption network linked to the PP. This would prove decisive in the fall of the Rajoy government in 2018, besieged by corruption cases and ultimately the victim of the first successful vote of no confidence since the restoration of the democracy. That's strike number 2. The kitchen case, a spin-off of the Gürtel corruption scandal, is, as they have pointed out, of a unique nature. At the confluence of both investigations, they founded a ruling party entangled in a particular corruption scheme that, in addition to failing to meet its tax obligations, they weren't paying taxes, ends up resorting to police officers, police corruption, some with deplorable track records of Commissioner Villarejo and similar colleagues to steal Barcenas's documents that could incriminate him. So they were like, I want you to get your dirtiest police officers on this job, because they're already dirty, and let them continue to do dirty shit. That is said, it's worth remembering that corruption isn't exclusive to any one party, as it knows how to take root in every major one. The PSOE, Spanish Socialist Workers' Party, had also had its share of cases, such as involving figures as prominent within its structure as two successive organizational secretaries. Tomorrow, incidentally, the trial against former organizational secretary and former minister Jose Luis Abalos, his advisor Coldo Garcia, and the middleman Victor del Adama will begin in the Supreme Court. They are accused of corruption in the sale of batches of face masks during the first phase of the pandemic I remember that case. They put all their money into face masks that were actually, they needed to be... If anybody who wasn't there, right? As soon as the pandemic hit, major pandemic level, a lot of supplies went out. Zero. We have zero masks, we have zero anything, right? But conveniently, people who are in political office who probably have access to, governmental funds, we have a shipment of 10,000 masks we can provide you. And we're going to make you pay double for them. Or maybe even 10 times more than you need to, right? Because you really need them. People are dying. And that whole case is just disgusting, right? You use your political power to get some masks that aren't even the masks they need.
Wasn't Boris Johnson doing the same thing in England?
I swear, it's really disgusting.
Yeah. Boris Johnson, he was...
But these were the Workers' Party. Friends. So I think these are people from the Workers' Party.
In Spain.
Sadly, this won't be the only case in which Abalos will have to appear. He's also under investigation for rigging and awarding of public works contracts. Oh, my friend works for that company, so I'm going to give the contract to them.
Oh, China.
In these cases, and in all others, where the trust placed in public officials has been betrayed, the best possible redress, in addition to the removal from public office, and maybe even their banning from public office, and the return of illegally obtained funds, is a full investigation into what happened, who's involved. This entails identifying those responsible and, if applicable, their crimes and the corresponding sentences. That is precisely what we expect from the two trials that began this week. So... we love governmental consequences of your actions. That's what I love. Just because you're the government doesn't mean you can't do illegal shit.
Oh, that's what a lot of government is for a lot of people. Getting your hand in the till. Especially when you know when a war is going to happen, right?
Yep.
So my sarcasm is, boy, China knows how to solve this problem. Haha, right? Because last year in 2025, China executed a banker. Former general manager of China Hurong International Holdings executed for taking $156 million in bribes. And 2021, former chairman of the China Hurong Asset Management executed for receiving $260 million in bribes, embezzlement, and bigamy. Hey, just cheating on his wife, get him executed. Well, he ain't doing that no more. Another guy, 2024, he was sentenced to death. Former chairman of the Bank of China, sentenced to death, but he got a 2-year reprieve 2 years ago. So, hey, let's see what he's doing. Looking at the clock, probably, right? Let me take one last bike ride. I don't know. Anyway, he's in jail. A bunch of these other were in jail, but again, the death penalty is a definite deterrent to rich people. Poor people, not so much. Poor people are like, I'll give it a shot. It's like, let's execute more poor people. That'll stop crime. Never works. Hasn't worked yet. Executing rich people will stop it. because they launder the money. All right, sorry about that. That's my sarcasm for the whole situation. Do we have another story,
right.
or am I going to dump some more news?
Yes, I have another story. This one's very short.
Okay.
This story is about... Speaking of which, this is actually a really good segue that you just did here. A French citizen has been executed in China. They're not a government official, but they did break the rules. They broke a law, even. They broke a law in France, in China.
FAFO.
And they did not get extradited. So they are still in, well, they're no longer anywhere because they're dead now, sadly. I don't know what they've done yet, but it's probably drug trafficking, it looks like. This is on AP News, coming out of Paris. France said China has executed a French citizen convicted of drug trafficking after keeping him on death row for more than 15 years. Shan Thao Pumai, 62, was executed in the southern Chinese city of Guangzhou despite French authorities' clemency appeals, the French Foreign Ministry said in a statement late Sunday, the 5th of April. It didn't say when the sentence was carried out. A Chinese court sentenced him to death in 2010. The ministry's statement expressed consternation and added, "We particularly regret that Mr. Chan's defense did not have access to the final court hearing, which constitutes a violation of its rights. We extend our condolences to his family whose grief we share," it said. In a short statement on the 5th of April that didn't mention Chan by name, the Chinese embassy in Paris said that China treats defendants of all nationalities equally, handled all the cases impartially and strictly in accordance with the law. France abolished the death penalty in an act of parliament in 1981 and has become a vigorous campaigner against its use and forced abolition everywhere. China's use of executions carried out by a firing squad or lethal injections is shrouded in secrecy, but has long been extensive. Amnesty International says China is the world's lead executioner, believed to sentence and put to death thousands of people annually. A capital punishment, disgusting thing, but there you go. They did some capital punishment for drugs. Which I think we both disagree with that here.
Drug is just an ambiguous term in my mind anyway. Doesn't really describe anything that's accurate, right? Because coffee here, drug. This is a drug, no denying it. And let's quote Robert Blake for my sarcasm in the TV show Beretta. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. There's my sarcasm. I mean, he didn't do much time, right? Hey, my time is over. So that's your short sentence. At least he doesn't have to suffer in some awful Chinese prison somewhere.
He suffered enough. 15 years in one.
Right.
Damn.
Yeah. 15 years. He was just,
I mean, everyone knows that.
And you went to China.
Yeah. Everyone knows you don't take drugs to any Eastern Asian country because they do not like drugs. I mean, some people have gotten arrested for bringing their ADHD medication to Japan, for example, because
Midnight
they consider
Express,
that a drug.
Movie?
I don't think so.
Midnight Express. That's to be required learning. Guy was in a Turkish prison for drug smuggling. Well, let's go ahead and use your imagination for that one. It wasn't a pleasant experience for the poor bastard. He did escape eventually to write the story. Anyway, most of them don't escape to write the story. They just not a lot of clamor to get extradition to American citizens who are smuggling drugs. It's not on the State Department's list.
No.
All right, let's have a spin.
Non sequitur for your story.
Right.
Or stories.
My two stories, I guess we'll do. Well, you haven't updated the Epstein files, so let's do that. I did send you a video. And this is from NPR.org. After the release of the Epstein files, why have there been so few arrests? This is from Ava Berger. Why? The document, in the more than 2 months, it's been almost 4 months since the Justice Department releases, It's been 2 months since they released the latest batch of files on the investigation of Epstein. Prosecutors have not brought any charges based on the documents, despite federal lawmakers on both sides of the aisle continue to demand accountability. The more than 3 million pages of documents include accusations of alleged victims of Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell's abuse, and thousands of emails and photos showing Epstein associated with prominent figures. The files indicate that many of these people have maintained contact with the disgraced financier long after he pleaded guilty in 2008 to sex crimes. And if they go on with
financier, a sex pest.
They go on with this. They go on with this non sequitur in the next line, which says, "Appearing in the files is not necessarily an indication of criminal wrongdoing." Okay, I get it. This is just a news story also, so you're not in court. You don't have to put that in there. The release of Epstein files came after Congress passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which has no penalties, so it was really a toothless law. Epstein died in prison, the theory has it, after her 2019 arrest and sex trafficking charges. You notice they're not saying he committed suicide, so that's a good correction because we don't know. There's a lot of questions. The disclosures that led to some resignations and other reputational repercussions in some high-ranking Americans. That's about it. Resignations, no punishment. The lack of arrests in the U.S. contrasts to the fallout from the U.K., where investigations have pursued charges related to corruption. 2 former government officials, former Prince Andrew and ex-ambassador Peter Mendelsohn, were arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. Andrew Batten Windsor, as he is now known, has denied wrongdoing and has not been formally charged. Mendelsohn has not been charged. Lawyers from Mendelsohn said that the arrest was prompted by a baseless suggestion. Arrested without being charged. How's that a thing in England? Okay, whatever. We did it for show. Hey, we got the perp walk, yeah. Anyway, that was funny. On Thursday, Stinky announced that Attorney General Pam Bondi is out at the top Justice Department. Again, that's meaningless because they still not released the files. Following bipartisan criticism over her handling of Epstein files and over her total acquiescence to the President of the United States, who has no business telling the Attorney General what to do. None. She has no business interfering with what the Attorney General is doing. That is not part of the job. They're supposed to be separate. But again, she just went to work for him, started indicting, investigating the chairman of the Fed for no reason. So yeah, she's pretty awful. NPR asked 4 former prosecutors and 1 former law enforcement officer why there may not have been enough evidence to levy additional charges. Here's what they said. One says, prosecutors need to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. Well, that's nonsense because I didn't even try to investigate these accusations. Mm-hmm. A prosecutor's ethical responsibility is to charge cases only if they believe there is enough evidence for a conviction. That hasn't stopped Scam Blondie from investigating members of Congress and arresting people for no reason. It hasn't stopped the Justice Department from arresting reporters that are protected by the First Amendment. So I am tired of this. Anyway, there's a whole laundry list of excuses here. None of them are satisfactory to me. When they're redacting things they were told not to redact, and all of the legal community is making excuses for why the Justice Department can't charge people, it rings hollow to me. So all these excuses about why we can't charge people, you buried the evidence. That's why you can't charge people. You buried the evidence. You redacted the names. You redacted it all. And then you suppressed the rest of it. That's why they're not charging anybody. So again, we're just updating the Epstein files. There's nothing new in this except lawyers talking lawyer speak and telling you why they're not going to do it when there's absolutely no reason why they can't do it, because they're the ones that are covering it up. It is an active cover-up. That's what's happening. Pretending that there's some legal shit they can hide behind, they're actively covering it up. Legal shit doesn't matter at this point. They're breaking the law. They are breaking the law. All right, there's your quickie Epstein thing on these criminals hiding behind the law again.
Yep. It'd be crazy if politicians who are unethical could pay for their actions. Like in Spain. It's really bad when Spain is better than you, because Spain does not have a great history of being better than anybody. So.
Yeah. China executing bankers. I believe that's the only country that's doing that. So.
Why are we bringing up China when I'm talking about Spain?
I'm just saying. I was just my own little.
Your own non sequitur.
My own little sidebar. My own little sidebar, and it's just like, why are we act like we're the country of liberty? We only execute poor people. Well, this is just more proof that laws are only there for poor people and honest people. Rich people don't have to follow the laws. Laws, shit. Even the freaking Justice Department doesn't have to follow the laws. Why would we do that? We're the Justice Department. Justice. All right, more sad news as a whale has passed away. I hope it is a long, healthy whale life up to this point. We'll find out. Gray whale that swam 20 miles up the Walapa River. Shocking residents has died. This is whales behaving weird for some reason these days. A young gray whale, young one, unfortunately, maybe looking for a mate, just got caught in a channel, couldn't turn around. I mean, I've been on some dirt roads in the woods. You can't turn around. You got to put her in reverse and back up for about 700 yards, and maybe you don't get stuck or hit a tree. That's what these whales run into. They need space. A young gray whale that's stunned. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Mark Graves of the Oregonian. A young gray whale that stunned the Southwest Washington residents, swimming about 20 miles up the Walapa River this week has died, according to Cascadia Research Collective in a Facebook update Saturday. The group said it was saddened to confirm that the whale was dead. The group said it was working with local partners to determine whether the location was safe enough for examination and asked the public to stay away from the whale. Yeah, it's going to stink. The whale was first reported
and it's going to blow up
Wednesday
too.
Morning after entering. Oh yeah, they're going to have to put little gas relief holes all through it so it doesn't do that. And heading past South Bend and Raymond, it continued beneath the US 101 bridge into a narrower winding stretch through farm fields before eventually reaching the Camp One Road Bridge. In all, the juvenile whale traveled about 20 miles upriver from the ocean. As the crow flies, it made about 12 miles east of the river entrance and 20 miles in ocean shore. The sight shocked people who lived along the river, I would imagine. It's going to start stinking now. It was the first time ever seeing a whale. Christina Balcom, who lives near the river in South Bend, earlier this week. It was emotional and surreal to see one in the middle of cow fields. She said the scene is even more startling because of how shallow the river looks in places. It's almost like a creek. No one would believe it was deep enough for a whale to swim in, and seeing it turn around and submerge enough not to be seen was crazy. I wish I had taken a photo from the bridge showing the land on both sides. Cascadia, which is the mountain range of Cascades Research Collective, a non-profit marine and mammal research group, monitored the whale Wednesday to assess its condition and behavior. The team searched it again Thursday, and for a lack of sightings was seen as encouraging. But by Thursday afternoon, the whale had returned to the same stretch of river where it had been seen the day before. In a Facebook update on Thursday morning, Cascadia said the whale appeared thin but was behaving normal. Gray whales routinely feed in the shallow water on benthic vertebrates, or small animals living in bottom sediment, and are generally good at navigating tidal areas, Huggins said. Still, there is always a chance a whale can get stuck if the tide recedes too quickly. The stretch of river where the whale is seen is strongly influenced by the tide, so this water contains quite a bit of salt. Long-term exposure to fresh water can cause skin problems for whales, though it usually takes prolonged exposure. So I think the whale just ran out of food, ran out of material, and gray whales can grow. Let's give some stats here before we end this article. Let's do this one first. Let's do this part here. Whales do not. Let's do this here. What about Cascadia had earlier asked people to keep their distance as responders tried to give the whale space. In its latest update, the group again urged the public to stay away from the whale. Todd and John said Chinook Indian Nation plans to hold a ceremony for the whale and harvest it according with tribal traditions. That's where I was getting to. Somebody needs to make some use of this whale so it didn't die in vain. There's nothing wrong with using something that it died, right? You can't bring it back to life. It's too late. Around 14,000 gray whales migrate along the Pacific coast each year between winter breeding grounds in Baja California and spring feeding grounds in Alaska, off Alaska. About 250 gray whales stay in the Pacific Northwest to feed, swimming between Northern California and British Columbia, according to researchers. Gray whales can grow up to nearly 50 feet and are among the largest animals on Earth. They feed on organisms such as mysid shrimp, crab larvae through baleen plates that filter food from the water. In all of that krill. All right, there's your quick gray whale story that's passed away. At least it's being repurposed. Somebody send somebody to repurpose all the whales that die like this because we don't want to see no more explosions. Yeah.
Especially since we get copyright strikes from these whale explosions.
Yeah, we're not going to show no whale explosions anymore.
They're copyrighted by the
Whale
Association.
Social media clamping down on us. It's the man. They want us to see AI garbage all day, though. Anyway, go ahead.
But yes, sadly, every time one whale survives, another whale dies, I think. That's just how the circle of life goes.
That's right.
It's
14,000
the circle
is a pretty good number
of life. Who eats the whale?
And if
I
you
think
ever
a
wanna
bunch
go-
of vertebrates on the beach eat the whale. So they're going to be eaten good.
I'm trying to
The
get
worms.
to the soundboard. Right. I have all of my trips in the ocean. I haven't seen any whales, man. There've been a lot of ferries in the Puget Sound and up there in that area. There's lots of whales, and they say you're taking a ferry ride. You're like, keep your eyes out for the whales. I even went to Orca Island. It's named after orcas.
There's no orcas there. I've seen.
No, there is
I've seen
orcas.
dolphins.
Not on the island.
That's the closest
No,
I've
but there's
been
orcas around the island.
to. Yeah.
All kinds of whales up in the Pacific Northwest. I just didn't see any. I've seen plenty of dolphins.
You gotta go there during the period, when it's happening, I guess, when they're moving around.
They told me. The frickin' ferry boat guy, right? He's like, yeah, look out for whales. They're active. So yeah.
You're just not the whale. You're not the whale
Maybe I didn't know
whisperer,
what to look
sadly.
for. Maybe there's a big fin sticking out of water and I never saw it.
You're just like, oh, that's just a piece of wood.
All right. They do lay in their side a lot. That's it, man. Those are my two stories.
Our next segue is bad pun for my culture news. This story is coming out of, if I can't even remember what the story is. Brain melting. The UK. So Kanye West's new album came out last week, and for some reason people are listening to it. And he has been added to a festival, and a bunch of sponsors are pulling out because they are not interested in giving money to a Nazi.
Right.
This is following. This is on Your News Culture.
No, Nazi fun's gonna work again? Not again.
Not again. By David Marquand. Kanye Ye West, who has previously been criticized over his anti-Semitic remarks, will top the bill for all 3 nights of the upcoming Wireless Festival in the UK. The Prime Minister Keir Starmer has expressed concerns over this booking, and several top-tier sponsors are already backing out. Following the release of his 12th album, Bully, American rapper and controversy magnate Kanye West, who just can't get canceled no matter how much we try, has been booked as to the headline all 3 nights of the Wireless Festival in Finsbury Park this summer. The trio of July dates had been described as a 3-night journey through his most iconic records. The dates are West's first UK performance in more than a decade, as well as his first London Festival headline since he topped the bill at Wireless in 2014. However, there's already some pushback, as West's presence in the UK is proving to be divisive. Prime Minister Keir Starmer has criticized Wireless Festival for allowing Kanye West to headline, calling his booking concerning. It is deeply concerning that Kanye West has been booked to perform at Wireless despite his previous anti-Semitic remarks and celebration of Nazism, he said. Anti-Semitism in any form is abhorrent and must be confronted clearly and firmly whenever it appears. He added, everyone has responsibility to ensure Britain is a place where Jewish people feel safe and secure. The move to have West's headline this summer has been criticized by various groups, including the Jewish Leadership Council and Campaign Against Anti-Semitism. The former called the decision to book West deeply irresponsible. London Mayor Sadiq Khan has criticized the booking, stating, "We are clear that the past comments and actions of this artist are offensive and wrong, simply not reflective of London's values." The comments Khan is referring to could fill several weighty tomes. How many times do you have to say the worst things ever imaginable before people think you're a bad person? I guess not enough. West's anti-Semitic remarks began in 2022 when he made a series of offensive comments on social media, which ended up getting booted him off Twitter and Instagram. The musician was dropped by his talent agency, and fashion brands like Adidas and Balenciaga also distanced themselves from West. West went on to post a picture of KKK ropes, rescinded his previous apology to Jewish community, and declared himself a Nazi, and declared that he is a dominion over his wife. In February 25, West started selling swastika t-shirts, and in May he released a song titled Hi Hitler, which praised the Nazi leader. This led him to being stripped of a visa to enter Australia and faced with immediate arrest in Brazil. Reminder, this was in 25. Last year. Almost a year ago. Right? This was 10 years ago, and he's moved on. It was last year, and people are listening to this guy's music. West has since apologized for his actions. Oh, thanks for your apology. Why don't you go do something for people instead of hating them? He took out a full-page ad in the Wall Street Journal earlier this year in order to apologize because a new album was coming out. That's why. That's why he apologized. Oh, right! I need people to buy my album. I better send out an apology so they can buy my album and they'll forgive me because they're all tools. Reflecting on a 4-month-long manic episode of psychotic, impaired, and impulsive behavior and saying that he lost touch with reality. I'm sure he did. You know, people who do that usually go get help. They don't post on social... it doesn't matter. Still, many question the timing of his apology, and me included, considering the release of Bully and his past comments have led to various countries banning his performances. Oh shit, right, I have to go on tour, but I'm banned from entering the country. The most recent in France, as the mayor of the southern city of Marseille, France's second biggest city, stated he does not want West anywhere near his city. To make matters more uncertain for West's upcoming UK performances, several festival sponsors have started to back out, including Wireless primary sponsor Pepsi. The festival also had officially been known as Pepsi Max Presents Wireless as part of a partnership that had been placed since 2015. While they lose their biggest sponsor for 10 years over Kanye West. Well, it better be worth it, Wireless. A Pepsi spokesperson said, Pepsi has decided to withdraw its sponsorship of Wireless Festival. Diego, owner of the Johnny Walker and Captain Morgan, said on Sunday, the 5th of April evening, had also withdrawn. A spokesperson said, we have informed the organizers of our concerns, and as it stands, Diego will not sponsor the 2026 Wireless Festival. At the time of publication, the Wireless Festival website is still advertising West headlining billing and continues to tout Pepsi sponsorship. Pepsi Max Presents Wireless returns to Finsbury Park on 10 to 12 July 2026, reads the text on the main page. So they're either talking under the table or something, but I don't think he deserves any of this. Like I said, I can excuse a 16-year-old for being edgy on the internet, but like a 30-plus-year-old doing that, oh, sorry, I just had a psychotic episode. Well, somebody should have took your phone away from you. You should delete those posts. I don't know. It's just like the fact that he specifically withdrew his apology, right? That requires secondary action. You could have just left the apology there, but he didn't. He withdrew his apology. But Kanye West, anti-Semitic asshole. And he's been an asshole the whole time, even before he's anti-Semitic.
Who did Pepsi Cola cancel their sponsorship?
Yes, Pepsi was like, we're pulling out. We don't want to touch that with 10 foot pole.
Here's my pun. I'm not saying he ain't bipolar, but he ain't drinking no Pepsi Cola. Yeah, Pepsi Cola. Rhyming polar and Kohler. I pulled that one out.
Hello, good morning, Z. I hope you're had a good weekend. And
oh yeah, it's had a spin. Or
having some good breakfast right about now.
Did send you a video having to do.
Yes, I've already slotted in. We've done this mic drop before.
Have we? Yeah. Well, it's that time to do it again this time because.
Yeah, we can. I don't care.
Away.
I'm just saying, I remember it.
All right.
I remember
Hopefully
this one.
It's not blocked. This day in history. Oh, it's playing in the background now. Okay.
I'll give you
pause.
Oh my goodness! I keep re-rolling the same thing. I got non sequitur and limerick again, but I've already done those today.
Let's do something different.
Haiku. There we go. Something different.
Whoa,
take it away to this day in history.
Creativity. I tried to pause it. There it goes. It paused. All right. On this day in history, we're not going too far back in time, I don't think. Yes, here we go. That tomorrow is a good day. It says the lost nuclear bomb is found. That's right. 1199, mortally wounded in battle. Richard the Lionheart died in Chalice, or C-H-A thingy with on top of it. Chalice, not Chalet. U.S.
It's not French?
In U.S.
Okay, so it couldn't be French.
Could be.
Because French people weren't in the U.S.
It's
ever.
in the Duchy of Aquitaine, whatever that
Duchy.
Means. Wherever that
it's
was.
Duchy. That sounds like it's French.
Duchy.
Yeah, Chalet.
It could have been. I don't want to. I've lost interest. 1348, the woman said to be Laura, the beloved muse and the Italian poet Petrarch, died. So this is the day that Laura died. She was a muse.
No, Laura.
Very famous. No, Laura. L-A-U-R-A. 1830, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was formed by Joseph Smith in Fayetteville, New York, when he got himself hold of some real good drugs. Probably hallucinating on mushrooms, I'm guessing. Just ate what was growing in his garden and said, whoa, got a tummy ache and saw things and wrote a book. Way to go, Joseph Smith. Church of Latter-day Saints. 1862, Union troops clashed with Confederate troops at the Battle of Shiloh in the American Civil War. Another stupid battle over some turf. 1868, the Japanese Emperor Meiji issued the Charter Oath, which served to modernize the country during the Meiji Restoration, or is it the Meiji Register? How do you pronounce that in Chinese?
Meiji.
Or Japanese, sorry. Japanese, Meiji, right?
Meiji. I wrote my master's degree about this.
Charter Oath. It was the Charter Oath. Issued this date, 1868. This was, I guess, the beginning of some kind of something. 1896. Well, I'm not going to guess. The first modern Olympics opened in Athens after revived Olympic Games by Pierre Baron de Coubertin, a founder of the International Olympic Committee, and as president of 1896. The IOC was open for business and taking bribes. And this day in 1896, just kidding.
There are people
who
have
taking bribes fairly recently. Hey, how about that?
There are people who have theorized that Jesus was actually a metaphor for hallucinogenic mushrooms.
That's right. And again, we remind ourselves if Jesus was around, we wouldn't pay any attention to him. We say, "Who's that freak?" Right? So
what's
why
that
are we acting
good
like
person
this?
telling us to love each other? What a weirdo!
Look at that guy. Put on some clothes. You're wearing a freaking smock. You know. 1896, the first modern Olympics opened in Athens. We did that already. Sorry. 1909, Edwin Peary reached the North Pole, and he said, "Hey, it's cold." According to his expedition's records, although the analysis in 1980 suggested navigational mistakes and record-keeping errors meant he fell short. Let's give him credit. By 1980, he wasn't around. Let's dig him up and point at him and go, "You didn't make it. Somebody else did." Whatever, man. It was cold. 1917, the United States declared war on Germany. As we talked about this earlier, it's the one time the United States got involved in something and actually at least pretended to solve a problem, thus entering World War I 3 years after the conflict began. It was over in about, 16 months. And, something like that. 1931, the Little Orphan Annie radio series has a national debut on NBC's Blue Network, based on Harold Gray's comic strip of the same name. The program first aired in 1930 at WGN Radio in Chicago and was the first nationally broadcast children's radio program starring a juvenile protagonist. Don't forget to drink your Ovaltine. That's what I learned from Little Orphan Annie radio show. If you've never seen the movie Christmas Story, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But if you have seen it, you know that was a secret code that Ralphie got from the Little Orphan Annie. It is a secret decoder rig.
I thought it was going to be something big, and it was just a freaking ad.
Yeah. A lousy commercial. 1947, Tony Awards were presented for the first time, and nobody named Tony won. Notable winners included Ingrid Bergman, playwright Arthur Miller, and director Elia Kazan. And those are for Broadway plays. I don't know if they have to be on Broadway or just near Broadway or Broadway adjacent or whatever. 1973, the game at Fenway Park. The first designated hitter was used in Major League Baseball. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. They decided that, we're going to prolong some old guys' careers that can't really play in the field anymore. And who wants to watch pitchers bat anyway? All they do is pop it up or strike out in 3 pitches. A lot of them don't even take their jacket off when they go on base. They put a jacket on, they run the bases. So, nobody wanted to see that shit. The rule change, which allowed for the first DH was the New York Yankees player Ron Blomberg, whose career was in the skids and he couldn't play in the field anymore. It's like, get a bat, you can still hit a ball. Get out there, Ron. He was the first designated hitter. 1980, the American company 3M began selling Post-it notes in U.S. store. The small pieces of paper with adhesive strips became hugely popular. That's how I know all of my knowledge is from Post-it notes. I can't read any of them, so I get it wrong a lot. But hey, they're 3M inventing the Post-it notes, or one of their lab technicians or whatever. 1992, Russian-born American author Isaac Asimov died at the age of 72. A highly successful prolific writer, and science books for the lay person. And that's the only thing you can lay as a person, as far as I know. You could try some other things, but, J.D. Vance has. 2009, Michael Jordan, widely considered basketball's greatest all-time player by people who want to kiss his ass, was elected to the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. 2009, an earthquake struck. I don't widely consider him the greatest all-time greatest basketball player. I guess Kareem was. 2009 earthquake struck near La Aquila, Italy, causing extensive damage and killing more than 300 people. That's terrible. But at least it was only 300 people. That's one of those things. Man, it could have been a lot worse, right? 2014, diminutive actor Mickey Rooney died at the age of 93. He was noted for his high energy, charisma, and versatility, also known for getting married a whole shitload of times. I don't think him and Elizabeth Taylor actually
chronic married
Both
person.
of them had the same problem. Mickey Rooney chronically was very known for being short, so he get to play a teenager well into his 30s. And he was like best friends with Judy Garland, like they were the best friends in the world. But Mickey Rooney, unfortunately for him, the stigma of being that Japanese guy in Breakfast at Tiffany's, still never understood that one. 2025 Washington Capitals. This is last year at this time. Alex Ovechkin, a Russian, became the career goal scorer. He'll never catch Wayne Gretzky's career scoring record because scoring also counts assists. A lot of time, the assist is the reason you scored, right? The guy who had the puck saw you racing towards the goal, and he put that thing right where you could fire it into the goal. And that guy is Wayne Gretzky, so he'll never catch Wayne Gretzky's scoring record. And plus, he's a Putin fan, so screw him. Screw Ovechkin. Go back to Russia. Go fight no war. Ovechkin. 1974, ABBA wins Eurovision competition. That's right. On this day, 1974, ABBA won Eurovision with their song Waterloo. Oh, we brought up Napoleon earlier, didn't we? The whimsical number likened the breakup of Napoleon's historic at Waterloo with a romantic breakup. It was Sweden's first Eurovision victory. We should have done some ABBA today. It would have got blocked, right? After winning Eurovision, Waterloo topped charts across Europe. ABBA would become one of the most successful pop bands in history. They say they outsold the Beatles, which I think is probably true. Italian painter and architect Raphael's birthday today. He was born April 6th in 1483 in Umbino, Italy, and he died on April 6th. Holy crap! He only got to be 37, but he got to die and be born on the same day? That's a rarity. I wonder if he planned it that way. He was only 37. Wait. Did Raphael do a Van Gogh? Did he kill himself? You people get depressed on their birthday if nobody shows up, right? I don't know. 1904's birthday of Kurt Georg Kleisinger, German statesman. 1920, James Watson, American geneticist and biophysicist. James Watson, the guy who was one of the scientists who came up the sequencing of DNA thing. 1937, Merle Haggard was born. Merle Haggard, Okie from Muskogee. And Michelle Bachmann, American politician and nut job, born in 1956. 1963, Rafael Correa, President of Ecuador, born in 1963. So he's turning 63 today. 63, born in 63, having his golden birthday. And if you're the president of Ecuador, every day is exactly the same length as every other day. You got 12-hour days. You're on. Woohoo!
Let's all move to Ecuador and make that the best country in the world.
Let's go, Ecuador. I wonder our immigration policy's like. Our national days today, it's a lot of things. National Student Athlete Day, we talked about that a little bit. National Caramel Popcorn Day. You love getting popcorn even more stuck in your teeth than it already does. Well, we got a treat for you. National Sorry Charlie Day. It used to be about a tuna company, but I don't know. It's Sorry Charlie Day. I don't think it's about Charlie Kirk. We're sorry, Charlie. National Tartan Day. That is about your Scottish traditions, which I'm not even sure what my tartan consists of. It could be just about anything. National Teflon Day. Teflon Day is that stuff that's been basically outlawed because it causes mesothelioma, whatever, Mephistopheles, all of that stuff. Mephistopheles, barnacles, all of that stuff. I'm just making words up here. Barnacles are on your ship. That was on Odysseus' ship. He had barnacles. National Carbonia Day. I'm making Odyssey jokes, in case anybody's wondering. Beer is New Beer's Eve. It's National Employee Benefits Day. I'm still not done. It's National IEP Writing Day, and it's National Fresh Tomato Day. Fresh tomatoes, I guess, as opposed to Rotten Tomatoes, which is your website for everything. So anyway, there's your limericks. About to have a haiku, your mispronunciations, your technical glitches, your other features on April 6, 2026 on Before Caramel Popcorn, hopefully not cooked in Teflon, Carbonara Day. I didn't even cover that, carbonara. It's before carbonara and also fresh tomatoes. So those three things. I apologize.
All right, sounds delicious. I'm like over here being comfortable now.
Right.
I have 3 haikus for you. The first one.
All right, haiku.
Melodies unite, dancing shadows in the lights. ABBA's triumphs bright. Because they won the Eurovision contest. In double helix, secrets of life intertwine. Watson's gaze unveiled. For our birthdays today, who invented DNA. Or discovered DNA. He didn't invent it. He was like, suddenly I've invented how life works.
It was Watson, Crick, and a woman who was not given any credit. But anyway, go ahead.
Oh, but you don't know her name either. You should probably learn it.
Right, because it came later. I learned Watson and Crick when I was in science class. Anyway, go ahead.
I remember her name. I can't remember her name either right now. It's really annoying. Anyways. Tarkin's thread unite! April brings a proud refrain. Heritage runs deep. Because Tartan Day is about celebrating your heritage as well. Scottish Heritage Month is basically what it is this April. Yes, for Scotland! Let's go back to Tonbreck Farms. For all of April, we'll just move there for a month. We'll have a vlog. Well, they're trying to... Well, actually, they have an ad on their website that says they're looking for a cow farm expert. Because they're trying to set up a small cow farm. So, maybe a nice retirement there, huh?
Yeah, we'll go apply.
How are you an expert? Do you have a degree in it? No, I just worked in a cow farm from 1 to 20, basically 20-year experience.
Plus my great grandfather used to live here.
I live in that cow shed on your neighbor's cow shed. Okay, that's where I used to live.
Right. I'm gonna go find the buried treasure he has there. That's what it is.
Well, I guess you wouldn't mind. Wouldn't mind diving through the muck of the cow pie.
Not a lot of. I will say this: not a lot of people find the places where their ancestors used to actually live.
Yeah,
I've done it in 2 different places. I did it in Canada too. I found the exact plot of land that he moved to. I found the land that he left, the land that he moved to, and all that shit, man. Anyway, that was kind of
very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, we can go back. I wanted to spend more time in Scotland, man. Just go out there and appreciate all the giant slugs, right? They giant slugs everywhere. Remember that? I do.
Oh yeah, they were pretty huge. Yeah, it was breeding season. And you can practice understanding the Scottish accent like I have, so you can actually know what people are saying to you. Fully return to your roots.
Dead parrot sketch. You can do the dead parrot sketch. I got a slug. Can it talk? Not really. Well, that's a bloody replacement then. Anyway.
This has been Allison here from the Netherlands, Roger from the East Coast of the U.S. as we tie off another Mucking Fonday. It only goes up from here, everyone. We'll be back with Good Tuesday tomorrow, so we can give you all the good news you need to hear for this week. Don't forget to subscribe to the Before Coffee podcast channel on YouTube because we need more subscribers on there. Push us into your algorithm and all that junk. And we appreciate everyone who's already following, already subscribed, and of course our Before Coffee supporters on Patreon. Here is our mic drop moment.
Isaac Asimov, and did you get any heat, so to speak, from an effort you made one time to rationally explain a lot of the Bible miracles?
Oh, it's surprisingly little.
Did you get a lot of tracts mailed to you?
Well, I got some, yes, and also some letters telling me.
I told a joke earlier in chat about Jesus being a mushroom.
Occasionally.
That he wanted us to microdose on his body.
Names. But
microdose of my body.
Tell them that I'm sure they thoroughly believed that when I died I was going to go to hell and suffer indescribable torture.
People were freaking out and taking their clothes off in church.
In that case, why should they bother?
They were just returning back to the Garden of Eden. What's the problem?
Never got an answer.
It's one of the little-known sacraments. I think it's called the...
Which ones gave you the most trouble?
The fungification.
The Red Sea, the burning bush.
Actually, what gives me the most trouble is every time I write something supporting evolution. That somehow
it's one of the 8 sacraments. There used to be 8 sacraments.
Yes, they want to write back and tell me that evolution is just a theory, or they send
Why
me...
is there 7
of
sins?
course it's just a theory. But because it's theory doesn't mean it's not based on facts.
Well, maybe somebody should correct the use of the word theory.
It's just dismissive to say
gravity
that.
is a theory, too, but nobody gets it, does he?
Well, a theory is
Some people do. Some people do question
a system of thought
gravity, though, sadly.
Explains a great many disparate
So there's 7 sacraments, 7 sins, and 7 sons. Isn't that weird?
Otherwise,
777 jackpot!
Yeah.
You might say this, a pile of bricks.
I'm going to play that today at the casino.
An architectural
Nobody's ever
blueprint
played 7
that you
before,
follow to
thinking
build a
it's lucky.
structure is a theory.
Somehow theory's gotten the meaning of guesswork.
Yes, I know. That's because it's improperly used. A hypothesis is a
Not guessing.
possible theory which would require support. Once it receives sufficient support, it becomes a theory. And theory of evolution has incredible
it's not a
quantities
theory
of
when you can
support.
just show examples.
A large
In
amount of
from
support.
science, from biology, from
We can just
chemistry,
pull it out of the
from
air.
geology,
Darwin was just
everything.
sitting around going, hey, I
It
got
is-
a fucking
it is
idea. I'll go
inconceivable,
fool
really,
everybody.
that evolution
yeah,
does
shit to
not
back it up.
exist.
He literally went,
The
all of
only
these birds are the
arguments people
same
have on
bird.
the
Like, they're
exact
actually the
mechanism.
same bird.
Creatures.
But they all have,
right.
but they all have different
analogy
beaks,
is,
different
nobody's
feet,
going
different
to argue
body sizes.
that
What the hell
automobiles
did
don't
that?
exist,
Why do
or
they
that
like
they
that?
don't drive
Oh,
when
it's
you-
because there's
And
berries on
totally
this
isolated
island,
on
there's
gas.
nuts on this
As to what
island,
goes
there's
on under the
crickets on
hood,
this island.
If you're not an expert,
They
there
all
are probably many
evolved.
theories. I myself don't know what goes on under the hood,
Yep.
but I know the
And don't forget
cargoes.
DNA
fact
testing
that
has
species
confirmed that
adapt
we are
and so on
definitely
and
related
change
to
and-
so many
And that you have a
animals,
whole
right?
series
Yeah, that's so
of
true.
fossils
Our
we
DNA
show,
our DNA
and
from
the
plants is very
biochemistry of the
similar,
genes
even.
Yeah.
also shows relationships.
I'm not.
And we actually see
the very
evolution
first living
work
organism
before
had to have
our
been a
eyes,
plant.
and
It's
many
very simple
changes that
life.
take place in
Even to this day, people still confuse the difference between a theory and a blind guess.
That are short-lived and have
Which
many
they're
young,
different
so
words for a
evolution
reason.
speeds up. We find it in insects.
Like people say that gravity don't exist. So what holds us to Earth? Something else. Okay, what's it called? Give it a name.
From this, Darwin.
But even when
Gravity.
people
Okay.
say, I have a theory,
Then-
they're usually basing it off of evidence, right? Like,
your
I have a
enemies on
theory
the
about where the
evolution.
plot's going.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.
We're not exactly